You are now watching Miami Trap Stars.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 53 and verse 1. Who hath believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. He hath no form nor comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him.
So first, the first verse tells us or asks rhetorical questions and saying, who has believed our report and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? So who has this been shared with, right? And this is quoted by John in John the 12th chapter, telling you that this is rightfully said in the sense of there are people out there that have the absolute inability to even behold and understand this. So now that we've been given that graceful mercy to behold and understand this, how much more should we value it, right? Because who has this been shown to, right? Outside of the righteous servants of the Most High God, right? Servants of Yahweh Ministry. See that, right? Real quick, shout out to everybody that just helped us reach the goal. Of course, starting with Zaquan Dawa.
Of course, to our beloved Zaquan Dabarawa, Yahabashim Shabakata, want the Waterford Johnson donation continue supporting keeping that $1 drive alive, I think 2 more times. And of course, to our beloved chief sister Tanya, Yahabashim Shabakata, want the Waterford Johnson donation continue supporting keeping that $1 drive alive 3 more times. And of course, to our beloved brother Shapacha, Yahabashim Shabakata, want the Waterford Johnson donation continue support and keeping that $1 drive alive 1, 2, 3 more times. The Water King, all praises to the Most High for all of you.
This right here is a blessing as well. All praises, all honor, all glory to the Most High for getting our beloved chief sister Tanya home safely.
That's right.
Start again from verse 1, please.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 53 and verse 1. Who hath believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground.
So Yahawashi, right? This is who this is talking about. It says, because it's talking about the suffering servant, right? It says that he shall grow up as a tender plant, right? And as a root out of a dry ground. And what is the dry ground, etc., right? Dealing with where he's coming from, the nation. If you want to be more specific, even the place in Israel he came from, right? I mentioned this at camp as well before, how the same way that our people are looked at as slums or that we live in the slums, etc., that's the same place Yahawashi came from. Yahawashi came from Brooklyn. He came from Opelika. He came from LA. He came from a place that was broken down, trodden down, and marginalized. Right? Go ahead.
God. He hath no form nor comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we shall desire him.
Mm-hmm.
He is despised and rejected of men.
He is what?
He is despised and rejected of men.
You think that, Salaki, you think this is talking about the heathen? When he went to the coast of Tyre and Zidon, he said that, look, if I told these people to do it, they do it already.
Yep.
This can't be talking about heathens. Mm-hmm. Talking about us. Right? It says there's no beauty that we should desire him. It didn't come to us. It wasn't revealed to us in this shiny, super spectacular way. He came from a place that everybody despised. He came from a city everybody didn't like. Oh, what good comes out of Bethlehem, right? That's the same thing they say about our communities today. What good comes out of Carroll City, right? The only thing that they hype up for the most part is when brothers is coming out of Miami, the University of Miami. We got good football players and stuff like that. Every time I drop my nephew off to school, there's I forgot his name, but he's won Super Bowl championships. They got this man's face plastered on the gate. But I know individuals that have also gone and done great things, but they weren't NFL players. But that's what they glorify, as if that's all we're good for. Right? So now dealing with Yahawashi says he is despised and rejected of men. Go ahead, Slug. I don't want to.
God. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows, and acquainted with grief.
My God. When you guys read this, do you see the type of description it uses to illustrate Yahawashi? It says that this man was acquainted. His best friend was grief.
Right.
Can you see that? Pay attention. Why he had to go through this. It's going to get to it. And I hope we start to really be thankful for what God did and that this man, Yahawashi, went through it all. It said that this man was acquainted with grief. Right? We talk about how hard our life was. This man was acquainted with grief. Attached to his hip. Go ahead.
Come. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not.
And we what?
And we esteemed him not.
We could care less about what he had going on. Right? You know what happens in the Christian church, or even today with Israelites? Oh, the world followed him. Everybody they followed him. They didn't follow him, though. Hopefully, y'all get it. Everybody chased after this man. Ahmataza spoke to it the other day because they were selfishly seeking him. They obviously knew, oh, we can get healed by him. He can do this for us. He can do that. When it came to doing what he asked, though, how many people was there? There was an individual had to bury his dead daddy. Right? Oh, Lord, I want to follow you, but I got to go bury my dead dad. Right? So I want to follow you when it suits me. Right? Again, going back to what we just said earlier about we wait to the last moment. Then we want God to fix everything that we messed up. Right? Real quick, Chief Sister Tanya has a question. Chief Sister Tanya asks, question off topic. In Deacon's chat, a question was asked about kosher. I love dill pickles, and it says kosher. We're not allowed to eat kosher pickles.
Yeah, we're allowed to eat kosher food. There's nothing wrong with that. They're not sacrificing it to idols, anything like that. They're just making sure that the food falls in line with what the law says.
Yeah.
That's all they're doing. They're not sacrificing it. They're not doing anything like that. So if it falls in line with the law, and rabbi, says that, yeah, that falls in line with the law, then it's considered kosher. So kosher by itself, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. But when they say things like there's kosher pork or kosher cigarettes, no, that of course is BS.
One yes, two no. Does everybody understand and receive that? Especially Chief Sister Tanya, who asked the question.
Yeah. So you're good to go on the pickles, kosher pickles. The halal stuff, no, you cannot eat halal food. Stay away from that. Yes, correct. Shapat.
Trap. Real quick, let's start back at verse 3.
Yes, sir. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 53 and verse 3. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows, and acquainted with grief. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he hath borne our griefs.
He what?
Surely he hath borne our griefs.
So now pay attention. He was acquainted with grief. Whose grief?
Our griefs.
It wasn't his,
Right.
right? He just came from the Father. He's being instructed of the Father. So it says he's acquainted with grief. Surely he has borne our griefs. Real quick, because I think this is a part where Majan Israel had a question about. Let me go to the Discord chat. Shout out to the Discord chat. Right, it's at the top. The link is at the top. You know what I'm saying? Go tap in. Okay, no, not yet. No, yeah. Majan Israel asks also in verse 4, surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted, meaning we didn't respect him before, but did respect him after he went through what he went through for us. Actually, no.
Mm-mm.
No.
Oh, that nigga cursed to God. that was our attitude.
Right? So when we read verse 4, no, it's not about a before and after. This is just Israel's response at all. That's why when we see verse 3, it says, and we hid as it were our faces from him. Again, going back to the same thing with Adam in the garden. We hide from righteousness.
Right.
We would prefer to stay. The Most High tells us that we made a deal with death. We are and with hell are we at agreement, because we hide our faces from righteousness. We hide our face from our Lord and our Savior. Right? So 1 yes, 2 no. Maja Israel, can you receive the response to your question? If you don't mind, can we read verse 3 one more time?
God. Verse 3. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows, and acquainted with grief. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows.
So verse 3 says he's a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. Verse 4 defines it as our grief and our sorrows, which is going to answer the other question that Majan Israel asked. I'll wait till it comes up, right? But pay attention to this description, right? Shout out to Hassad, right? This is a descriptive text, right? Go ahead.
Oh, I thought he was in the chat.
No.
Like he says that this is
I'm taking.
Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted.
Yeah. So at that point, now what is it saying? That this is how we looked at Yahawashi, right? We esteemed him stricken and smitten of God, like Ahmataza said. We esteemed this man to be cursed. We esteemed, etc. Right? And the thing about it is, we can see in the New Testament that people knew the Messiah was coming, right? And we could see that obviously there was talk about how he was the Messiah, right? That he was this Davidic messianic figure. And it tells us that we would still reject him and that we would still look at him as nothing. We would esteem him not. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 5. But he was wounded for our transgressions.
He was what?
He was wounded for our transgressions.
So because we failed to keep the law, Salakia, he had to deal with that. Because we love to eat pork, because we want to celebrate Christmas, because we can't keep our fringes on, because we have to hate each other at every moment we get, because we tell God we don't need his help, because we would prefer to have $20 an hour jobs instead of the abundance of the earth.
Right.
Yahawashi had to be wounded for our transgressions. Go ahead.
But he was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our people was upon him.
Of our peace.
Salak, the chastisement of our peace was upon him. And with his stripes, we are healed.
Right. So this was another question that Majan Israel had regarding this verse. he said what he's asking basically, what does it mean, right? So verse 5 again is in context with verse 3 and 4. It says that for our transgressions he was wounded, he was beaten, he had to go through what he went through because of our uh inability or want to obey God, right? When it says the chastisement of our peace was upon him, it has to do with what it says in verse 4, how he bore our griefs, how he carried our griefs, he carried our sorrows, right? In order for us to obtain peace, he had to be acquainted with our depression and our sin, right? In order for us to achieve peace, right? In order for us to achieve the kingdom, the glory, and get back to the Father, right? We must go through him. So that's what this means, and this is what it's dealing with as far as the chastisement of our peace was upon him. He was beaten, humiliated, right? Traumatized, all different types of turmoil for a people who esteemed him stricken. And because of these things, when it says by his stripes we are healed, that those stripes have to deal with him being beaten, with him being wounded, with him being bruised. Those are the stripes, right? Because of him being beaten, we are now using that as our healing. That's why it says, by the blood of Yahawashi were we purchased. This is the price right here, guys. This is the price. So when we wake up and we do other things instead of praying, guess what we're doing? Oh, this doesn't matter. When we wake up and we're putting God on the back burner, oh God, who cares? Who cares what you did to your son for me? When we're so focused on the wrong thing in any capacity, right? It's depreciating what God did for us. Not that it loses value, but we begin to devalue it, right? And then it's due to the fact that we don't even acknowledge our worth in Hamashiach. Because right here it tells us that by his stripes we are healed. John 12 again quotes this in saying that people refuse to be healed. We are compromising our well-being. That's the opposite of self-respect. I hope y'all still following. 1 yes, 2 no. I hope you're still following. Right? Nah, Maja Israel. It does not mean that.
Actually, it does mean that, but in Middle English or Old English, it has a slightly different meaning. That's why it comes off like that. So in the Middle English, as a noun in the sense worth or reputation, that's what it would. And also says from Old French, estimer, from Latin, to estimate. The verb was originally in Latin sense also appraise. So basically giving, that's what his worth is considered, is to be, what did it say exactly? Esteemed what?
Stricken.
Esteemed stricken. That's his worth, to be stricken, to be beat up.
No, but he said, oh, you're responding to this.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was responding to this.
Oh, okay.
No, they did not respect him afterwards.
No.
Because just like the book of Judges, what did we continue to do after Yahawashi left? Sin.
Yeah.
So Ahmataza was responding to this,
right.
Just to be clear. He was defining, yes, this is true, right? As far as Israel respecting him afterwards, no. Obviously, you have his followers, etc. As far as history goes, though, we even see, which Paul spoke about, that there would be a falling away. We see that as after Yahawashi, dealing with the disciples, etc., especially because there's so many churches all over the place, we see people. This is where all these different doctrines come from. You understand? A lot of people, Israelites, we play the blame game with the white man, but if we were the Christians, then it couldn't have been the white man that created these doctrines. The Trinity, it's not a white guy thing. Okay. As far as certain off doctrines, the Coptic Christian Church or whatever it's called, supposedly, not necessarily a guaranteed fact, but they say that John the Apostle started that, right, over in Egypt. You understand? So different disciples and apostles, of course, with different synagogues in different places, you're gonna have these different doctrines popping up all over the place, which Paul spoke to in the letter he wrote to Thessalonica, how there would be a great falling away. People were becoming less associated with what they had previously learned. Also, what he warned Timothy that people would be have itching ears, right? Um,
Yeah,
one yes, two no. Is everybody still following though? One yes, two no. Is everybody still following and on point? Are we good to go? One yes, two no.
yeah,
We can
don't
keep
forget I gotta go
going.
shopping tonight still.
Con. I think it's only a few more verses.
Okay. Verse 6. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way, and the Lord hath laid on him the iniquity of us all.
So this also further identifies the fact that we continue to do whatever the hell we wanted, demonstrating that again we esteemed him not, right? Like Ahmataza even specified further that we thought that that's all he was worth was to be stricken,
Cricket.
right? And then in our continued lives, what do? We tend to depreciate, meaning not appreciate what God did for us, right? Go ahead.
Verse 7. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth.
Mm.
He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before her shearers is dumb, so he openeth not his mouth.
And this has to do more specifically with when he was brought up on charges. You notice he didn't say anything. He kept his mouth shut. Right? When he's asked, "Who are you?" Thou knowest, thou sayest. Right? So it says he was oppressed and afflicted. Right? I wanted everybody to read this and really see how this is described, and then really should go read the story of what actually was occurring. People slapping this man, spitting on this man, etc. And guess what? It was done for you. It was done for you, right? Go ahead.
Verse 8. He was taken from prison and from judgment. And who shall declare his generation? For he was cut off out of the land of the living. For the transgression of my people he stricken.
Hmm.
And he made his grave with the wicked.
He made his grave with the wicked, just like a lot of our powerful prophets did. They put themselves amongst the unrighteous. They numbered themselves amongst the sinners, right? Because that's who they were concerned for. It says that for the transgression of my people was he stricken. So remember, every time that we sin, or whether we think it's small or not, this man had to deal with that. Hebrews chapter 6 tells us that if we return to a life of sin, that it's basically crucifying Christ afresh. You're putting him back on that cross. You're putting him back through all these things, right? Because you think, oh, it's not going to hurt anybody. Every time you think about doing something wrong, think about what YHWH went through and ask yourself, is it worth it? The author of Hebrews also tells us that it's a much sorer punishment, he who tramples on the blood of the Son of God. Right? Go ahead.
And he made his grave with the wicked, and with the rich in his death, because he had done no violence, neither was any deceit in his mouth. Yet it pleased the Lord to bruise him.
Mm.
He hath put him to grief. When thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin, he shall see his seed.
Mm-hmm.
He shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of the Lord shall prosper in his hand.
Right. So now we're getting to the purpose, right? Or the finishing, right? It's in verse 10 when it says, yet it pleased Yahweh to bruise him. So it lets us know that this was a part of the Most High God's plan, right? Because again, he would prefer that the entire nation of Israel not perish. This is God's sign of mercy to you, to give you his only begotten son. We read how the Most High God has ransomed nations and sacrificed other peoples. Well, guess what? He took it a step further and he sacrificed his own son for you. So let's step it up. Okay, it says that when thou shalt take it, make his soul for an offering for sin, he shall see his seed. This is dealing with when we get into the kingdom, right? All those, the 144,000 and 1/3, if you will, right? He shall prolong his days. This is dealing with being in the kingdom now. This would be Yahushua's reward, right? For being a sacrifice of sin for us, making atonement of sin for us in our wicked behinds, right? Go ahead.
He shall see of the travail of his soul, and shall be satisfied. By his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many,
Mm-hmm.
for he shall bear their iniquities.
So this right here, when I was reading this at camp, I started with 1 Corinthians the 15th chapter and how the gospel, roughly paraphrasing, basically brings us salvation. Notice how in Isaiah 53 and 11 it says the knowledge. It says by his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many. So it goes beyond his death, his burial, his resurrection, and it also teaches you that you must follow his doctrine, the wisdom that he shared. That is what justifies us, his knowledge. We are healed, we're restored by his bruises and his beatings, right? That's what brings us healing and restoration. What brings us justification is the knowledge he shared with us and the wisdom he shared with us, which of course ultimately came from the Most High God. Very simply put, what did he teach us? To repent from sin, keeping God's commandments. Go ahead.
God. Verse 12. Therefore will I divide him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong, because he hath poured out his soul unto death, and he was numbered with the transgressors, and he bare the sin of many,
Mm.
and made intercession for the transgressors.
Right. And these are the things that he did for us. So the Most High God has promised them, promised Yahawashi a portion. Of course, we see that in Daniel 2, we see it in Daniel 7, and many other places. We have to understand that Zechariah 12 talks about when he returns, we would see the holes in his hands, and it would cause us to mourn, right? Because he went through those things for us. A lot of times Christians, they tend to emphasize how we were the ones to crucify him. Guess what? The fact that he even had to go up there at all should bring us to tears. It should make us sad. And then also make us glad and joyful to the Most High that the Most High has had this much mercy on us, that he was willing to sacrifice his only begotten son. And this is what we have faith in. This is the demonstration how God has showed us his love personally. And now, because he was stricken, it says the chastisement of our peace is upon this man. So now we must rejoice. Right? All praises, all honor, all glory to the Most High
Thank you
God.
for watching. Like, share, and subscribe now. All praises to the Most High.